Okay. So, hopefully this will go a bit more smoothly than the standard chip tier list did. And even though with the way I made this, the Giga chips show up at the top, I'm gonna save those until the end. I'll be doing the going through the megas first. And so I included the EXE6 chips for this one, like Double Beast. But like for those chips, obviously I'll be considering the EXE version, but for everything else, this will be based on the standard BN6 US version. So first we have Roll, and Roll V1 is pretty weak. There's not really any reason to use her. Like, it's a 20 times 3 attack and then 60 HP heal. So, like, it doesn't cover any elements. It doesn't really do anything. So, Roll V1 goes in the EX Navies tier, which is, I guess I can put in brackets F. Hey G Darkness, what's up? Okay, so moving on. So Roll 2 actually is surprisingly not going in the EX Navies tier, despite being the equivalent of an EX Navi. I'm not sure if it belongs in C or D. I kind of still want to put it in D. And so, because the thing is, Roll EX is 40 damage times 3 for 120, and then 120 damage heal, which effectively is a 240 HP swing, which actually, if we compare that to, like, that's way more than, that's way more than any other EX Navies. Like, I think the strongest EX Navi in terms of damage, although it's still not worth using, it would be Groundman EX, which is, yeah, that's 70 times 3 for 210. So, like, Roll 2 is even stronger than that. And can be, it also, like, scales with boosts the same way as Roll 3. So yeah, for people who don't know, Roll's a heal, like, scales with how much damage she does. So if you use just an attack plus 30 on Roll V3, instead of healing 180, she'd heal 270. So obviously, like, Roll is very strong with humor builds. And so with all that said, Roll 3 is going in A tier. Because R code is also pretty good. Obviously, it has uninstall. It has, like, Bubble Star 3. It's got a bunch of good stuff. It has Assassin Sword. And, yeah, Roll is part of what makes R code pretty good. So, Roll 3 is a solid A tier. So next up we have Proto Man. And so Proto Man, I think, tends to be a little bit overrated, but he's still pretty good. Oh, hey, China TV. So Proto Man is Sword Element, obviously, so his main job would be to decross Tengu. But there is a lot of other good sword options in BN6. There's other good sword navies like Tomahawk Man. You got your Muramasas, Neo Variables, Assassin Swords, Summon Blacks. There's a lot of good sword options for dealing with Tengu. And Proto Man gets like blocked by holes, which is a big disadvantage he has compared to Tomahawk Man and Colonel. He's like not multi-hit or anything. Like, I see a lot of people using, a lot of new players use Proto Man Star, or Proto Man Asterisk, and like, the nice things about Proto Man compared to Tomahawk Man and Colonel is like, he will hit them from anywhere on the field as long as there's nothing that blocks them. Like, as long as there's no holes or objects in his way. There's also the weird thing where sometimes that, like, him and Slash Man, and I think also Roll, just fail. If you use it, like, they can fail very rarely. If you use it while the opponent's, like, moving forwards, it, like, blocks them from spawning. So I'm gonna put a Proto Man in D tier, and that's being generous. Proto Man EX and the EX Navies tier, and Proto Man SP in B tier for blues, and also because he does benefit a lot from being in B code with Blast Man SP and chips like Grab Banish and Machine Gun 3. So, like, I do still use Proto Man SP and B code splash pretty often. So yeah, he's a solid B. Now we get to Spout Man, or Aquaman, however you prefer to call him. And so Aquaman is a pretty interesting Navi. He functions differently depending on where you use him on the field. And yeah, so if you use him in your back 2 columns, which is where you want to use him, he does the 3-hit attack with the fire hose. If you use him outside of the back 2 columns, he basically just does his charge shot. He shoots like a little water shot thing, like 2 panels ahead, and it cracks. And then it also hits the panel behind it. So, like, that is super niche usage if you, like, really need to crack one of their panels for some reason, but 99% of the time, you want to use the hose attack. And so that is kind of a slight weakness for Spout Man, because it means if you're at +1 area, like, and you want to aggressively protect that +1 area, you can't really use Spout Man like that. So that is actually a pretty significant drawback compared to if you just did the hose attack from anywhere on the field. So it is multi-hitting. It will, yeah, murder Charge Cross and Heat Cross. It will freeze them on ice. It ignores holes. Nerith uses Spout Man Asterisk Reg a lot, and it is actually pretty good because like, since it's multi-hit, it will like, it's good against the Falzar builds that have first barrier, because it will just deal with that first barrier immediately. Because the other thing about Spout Man is you usually want to use him from the middle row, because if you use it from the top and the opponent's on the bottom, it will just miss, and vice versa. So usually you want to just mash Spout Man when you're on the middle row. And so yeah, I think I'm also going to put a Spout Man V1 in B tier. Spout Man EX, so I might as well mention this now. EX Navies, with a few exceptions, are pretty bad because they're only a little bit stronger than the V1 versions. Like in most cases, they're like 20 or 30 damage stronger. But you don't have them in the asterisk code, and obviously SP Navis are much stronger. And so Spoutman SP is very strong. It's 3 hits of 120 damage. Oh, hey Luigi, man. So yeah, Spoutman SP goes in A tier. And so next up we have Heatman, and Heatman's a pretty interesting one. He's not bad per se. He just kind of gets outclassed by Blastman and Elementman. So Heatman V1, there's not really much reason to use. And then obviously same with Heatman V2. Heatman SP though, if you're running H-code, is quite good. It's 260 damage. The way Heatman works, he doesn't hit over hull panels, which is a big disadvantage compared to Blastman and Elementman. But his attack isn't like blocked by holes, so if there's holes right in front of you when you use Heatman, but the panels behind it aren't holes, it will still hit those panels at least. And yeah, it is pretty good if you're running H-code, because H-code, a lot of what H-code wants to do is going for freeze break stuff, which obviously gets stopped by Tomahawk Cross's status guard, and obviously Heatman will destroy Tomahawk Cross. And his range is kind of interesting, because if you use him from the middle row, it's basically just the regular heat breath range. But if you use him from the top or bottom, he works like kind of like Flame Man in 3. And yeah, so Heatman SP is a solid B tier. Okay, next up we have Tomahawk Man. So Tomahawk Man's a pretty interesting chip. I think for years it was underrated, but I think lately more people have caught on to how useful it is. Tomahawk Man is obviously wood, so he hits Elect Cross, but he also has secondary sword, so he'll hit both Tengu and Elect, so he gives you a D-Cross potential against both versions. And obviously D-Crosses are huge in BN6, because it's like denying the opponent's win conditions. And also, if you're using like statuses or something, then your own win condition involves like D-Crossing stuff like Tomahawk. Or if you want to use Get On, you probably want swords to deal with Tengu if you're going for whole strats. And yeah, being a wood chip in BN6, Tomahawk Man also doesn't cause blinking. So yeah, I'm gonna put Tomahawk asterisk also in B tier with Spout asterisk, although probably I'd say a little bit better. Tomahawk Man EX is kind of just another one of those sad EX navies. Because the other thing about EX navies is, apart from Judge Man, Element Man, and Erase Man, you can run at least 2 copies of all the V1 navies in 6. So like in those cases, you just run like 2 Blast Man star or 2 Tomahawk Man star over running the EX versions. And Tomahawk Man SP I'm also going to put in A tier, because it does a massive 280 damage, only 10 less than Proto Man, and doesn't cause blink. He's in code with Tengu Man, who's also pretty good. T-code SP navies are very scary for Gregor especially, but Tomahawk also gives you that potential Tengu D-cross, so yeah, very solid A tier. And obviously all the navies that do SP navies that do over 200 damage are nice, because in an emergency you can use them to deal with life aura. Though obviously it's not ideal compared to just using a wind rack for life aura, but it's nice to have the option. And so next we have Electman. And Electman in 6 works pretty similar to the lightning bolt chips in 3 and 4. He does his initial attack. I think it has like a 2-column range, and then he targets objects. It might actually, maybe I should like show off a clip of Electman in action, just to show how much damage he can really do. Yeah, I'm just gonna bring up a GIF, because, yeah, Electman's a little bit complicated to explain. Oh boy, that's not good. Now Discord's frozen for some reason. Huh. Yeah, let me just quickly bring up this Electman GIF. Okay, this should be it. This is an old VBA GIF that wasn't converted properly in Virtual Dub, so it's gonna be playing a little bit slow. But yeah, this shows how much damage Electman SP can do, but it is a lot of setup, so I'll be ranking him accordingly. And yeah, there we go, the Electman SP ×2 on Spout Cross. So he does the initial hit, and he targets the objects. It's very powerful with V-Doll especially, because then you take the curse damage after. So I'm gonna put Electman V1 actually in D tier with Proto-Man. Electman EX with all the other EX navies. And Electman SP, like, it's a ton of damage, but it is so hard to pull off in 6. Like, I can't say he's as useful as any of the B navies, so I'm gonna put him at the top of C tier, above Roll V2. And yeah, I got that X4 background music. Right, so now after Electman, we have Tengu Man. And Tengu Man is very strong. He is wind, so in 6 he will remove barriers or life aura. He'll decross erase. And it's not a huge deal in 6, but he can also clear out some objects from your back column, as long as it's not in the top row. So yeah, Tengu Man has a ton of utility. He's very good for dealing with life aura. He can, since it's 2 hits, like the first hit can remove life aura, and then the second hit would like still decross erase, or if they're like stacking defense and have life aura and anti-damage, he'll remove both of those. Obviously, he doesn't hit in the those like top 2 panels, the back 2 panels in the top row. He won't hit. So obviously, if the opponent knows you have Tengu Man, they might try to camp those. But yeah, Tengu Man Asterisk definitely is a very strong A tier. Tengu Man EX, sadly, there's not really much point in using him. And Tengu Man SP, I'm actually just gonna put at the top of B. The problem with a T code splash compared to B code is to go with the Blast Man and Proto Man. B code also has that nice grab banish, whereas T code, T is a very good code, but it's not really it doesn't have other support chips. When you're splashing the T navis, that's basically all you'll have. And so, yeah, and Tengu Man also does have that issue where you can camp him, and his main use is as a utility navi. And so, yeah, that's why I'm only putting Tengu Man SP at the top of B instead of at A. You could make a case for him at the bottom of A. And next we have Slash Man. And Slash Man is pretty similar to Proto Man. He's kind of like Proto Man and Spout Man. So he spawns kunais in your area on every column ahead of you. So Slash Man is like Spout Man in that you want to use him to get the most out of him from the back row or back column. So he does the kunais. You just hold B to make all the kunais target the opponent. Don't forget to hold B when you use Slash Man. And yeah, Slash Man SP, even with neutral area, is quite a bit of damage. Slash Man EX I'll actually put in D tier, because the Slash Man kunais work the same way as things like Judge Man books. They don't get boosted by things like double point or attack plus 30, but if you use it with anger or full synchro, it will get doubled. And then yeah, Slash Man SP I'm also gonna put in the top of B tier. It is very strong in S code. The only reason why Proto Man SP is a lot more common than Slash Man SP is because he's got his big brother Blast Man. And so next up is Ground Man. And yeah, Ground Man is very strong. Obviously, Slash Cross is extremely threatening for Gregor, so you always want to have an answer to Slash Cross, and Ground Man is one of the best answers. And yeah, he also has other utility. He doesn't just decross Slash, he's multi-hit, so he'll still hit you through barriers. It's great beat bait. And yeah, it cracks some of their panels randomly too. So yeah, Groundman Asterisk goes in A tier, Groundman EX goes in EX tier, and Groundman SP also goes in A tier. Obviously, being in G code, that's one of the best codes in the game. Groundman SP, obviously a big part of Y, but G has almost everything else as well. So yeah, pretty easy A tiers for both Groundman Asterisk and Groundman SP. And next we have Eraseman. I'm sure you all know where this guy is going. He's obviously one of the big three. He's a cursor, so he destroys traps. Eraseman has Invis Pierce. He's also Pseudo Break, so not even Shield or Reflect will stop him. The only things that really stop him is barriers. obviously you have to be careful of anti-Navi as well. And so yeah, I'm putting both of these guys in S. Erase Man SP is a very good splash, because in K code you also have Barrier 200. It's just great dust hate. Obviously Dust Cross is extremely powerful, and Erase Man SP hits dust very hard. And yeah, Erase Man EX is interesting. Hey TBB. So yeah, Erase Man EX, obviously, not going in the EX Navi tier. Like, this is a viable chip. I was debating earlier on whether to put it at the top of B, or the bottom of A. I think... like, it doesn't really matter. I think I'm gonna put him at, like, the bottom of A, though. Like, the stun is so good. The, like, the dust hate, like, you could, especially as Gregor, just do a K code splash of Barrier 200, Erase Man SP, Erase Man EX, and also maybe Elexord, because Elexord is pretty good. I think in the standard chip tier list, I got a solid B tier. Okay, next up we have Dustman. And so Dustman basically is BN6's equivalent of Poltergeist. He takes in all the objects on the field and shoots them out, as well as a one-shot, like he shoots them out down the row, as well as like he just does a shot by himself. He shoots out, I guess, Charlie. And so an interesting tech people have hypothesized, which honestly I should try sometime, is regging Dustman asterisk, because it could be good beat bait. It would be pretty funny on starting object fields, and you can, since like being, so Dustman is null instead of break, which on Dustman SP sucks. Because if Dustman SP could nuke Slash Cross, that would be amazing. But on Dustman Asterisk, it's actually not bad because you can Beast Charge it. So I'm debating on putting him either at the bottom of C tier or the top of D tier. I think at the top of D tier is fine. And then Dustman EX, lol, and Dustman SP, I guess, can go in the middle of C tier. Like, it's Dustman's not good, but he's not that bad. Yeah, no, it's definitely good that Signal Red's done in more games. I mean, if Signal Red was in 6, that would make Dustman a lot more common. And so next up we have Choo Choo Man. Train Man. And yeah, Charge Man is pretty interesting. He's, the more area you have, the better, the stronger he is. In C code, you do have Bubble Star 2, which is good for being able to confirm him. But, yeah, Charge Bad V1 and V2, sorry, they're, not good. Charge Man, SP can be a lot of damage. He's blocked by holes, he loses just if you're not in the same row as him. He needs a lot of area, he's null. But it can be a lot of damage. Because, yeah, the way he works is on every panel in your area behind you, he spawns like a train car. So, like, if even with default area, if you can actually land him, Charge Man is 3 hits of 130 damage. if you're only +1 with him, he does like 520 damage. Like, but the problem is, if he was fire, if you could somehow nuke Tomahawk with him, although good luck ever landing Charge Man on Tomahawk, because you can't bubble Tomahawk to confirm it, but that would be pretty funny. The Phoenix Gigas, Death Phoenix is broken. It's actually one of my favorite chips. We're actually getting through this pretty fast, so now we're on Marvino's favorite chip. And yeah, Blastman is great. The Blastman is great for decrossing Tomahawk. He can clear out back row objects for you. He's not stopped by holes. If you have grass panels, he can break life aura. The only thing is, he does get stopped by objects. And it's not super useful against Gregor. But yeah, Blastman is extremely powerful. Cause yeah, it goes down all 3 rows as long as you use it in the middle. Blastman himself has air shoes, so you can even use him while you're over a hole. And yeah, pretty easy A tier for both Blastman and Blastman Asterisk. Like, Blastman SP is borderline S tier. He's A++. Next up we have Dive Man, who's pretty interesting. He tries to attack the first 2 columns of the enemy's area in each row, but he needs the first column of your area to be able to spawn the wave on that row. So if it has an object on it, or most likely if it's a hole, then he won't be able to spawn the wave in that row. So the main reason why you'd use Blastman or Dive Man is, I guess, if you wanted it could be if you just really wanted something to help deal with charge and heat cross, but it's mostly for going for freeze strats. I have actually used Dive Man Asterisk before. So, but I can't, it's definitely, overall not as good as Spoutman V1, so Dive Man Asterisk, I guess, can go at the top of D tier. Dive Man EX, yeah, and Dive Man SP, at the top of C tier. Okay, next up, we have Circus Man, which, yeah. So, Circus Man is Invis Pierce. He only targets 3 panels ahead, and it is 6 hits of the very strange 55 damage. And so, yeah, let's just do some quick math here. So yeah, 6 hits of 55 damage. So unboosted Circus Man SP, and keep in mind he has mini bomb range. It is still only 330 damage. So that is 60 less than Ground Man, 30 less than Spout Man, and he's also null. He won't be decrossing anything. So okay, let's say you add a double point to that. Yeah, plus 30 is 510 if you use it with a double point. That's still only 720 damage. Now, C code does at least have Bubble Star too, so you can use that to try and confirm Circus Man. And the fact that C code has Bubble Star too is the only reason why I'm even putting Circus Man SP at the top of D, and not, like, also at the bottom of D or even an F. Like, it can't be a... Like, the Invis Pierce is nice, actually, because, if you get the, Oh, wow, is there... Yeah, is there really only 690 with double point? I thought it was 720, but either way, it's, like, not even really worth it compared to using double point with something good. But yeah, so, like, Circus Man is the worst of the C-code navies. Oh boy, and we have our next member of the Big Three here. The boy Judge Man. And yeah, so Judge Man does a bunch of things. He's Elect, so he will decross Spout. He's also Invis Pierce. He leaves them stunned. So the other thing I didn't mention about Erase Man earlier is his stun doesn't last for very long. Erase Man only leaves them stunned for like 90 frames. Judge Man leaves them stunned for 120. So that does give you quite a bit more time to go for a follow-up, like if you're going like for a charge shot follow-up. Like the extra stun time on Judge Man is useful for that. But the main thing about Judge Man is that if the opponent has any of your area, he'll try to spawn books on those panels. And that will cause the area, like, so the way obviously area grab works past B on 1 is when you grab the opponent's panels, it times out. Eventually, I think after about 30 seconds or so, maybe a bit more. I actually don't remember exactly how much it is. But Judge Man basically, as long as he's able to spawn one book, he instantly resets that timer to 0. The only thing is you don't actually get the area back if the opponent is still, like, occupying that column. And Judge Man, unlike Grab Banish and Grab Revenge, doesn't push them back on his own. So that is one major weakness of Judge Man. But Judge Man, if you pair him with a Wind Rack, that is a very, very strong play. Judge Man into a Wind Rack to just obviously push them out of your area. Especially now that we have the Bingus patch, there's no need to worry about, like, Wind Rack not being able to push them back at point blank if they have a life aura up. And so yeah, Judge Man Asterisk goes in S tier. But yeah, he is I would say he is like the overall weakest of the big three. So Judge Man SP, like, the Judge Man SP is only 190, so he won't break a life aura. Actually, though, the books on Judge Man SP are, like, the books on Judge Man SP each do 40 damage. So it's actually, like, each book on Judge Man SP is as much damage as Grab Revenge. So if you use Judge Man SP when you're at a full -2 area, the books can do like 200 damage from just the books. And if you land the whip as well, that's like a lot. And obviously being in J code is pretty good because you have Recov 300 and on Falzer Hub Batch, so yeah, Judge Man, obviously very strong. And next up we have one of the only Navis who's even stronger than Judge Man, Element Man. Which, I mean, yeah, what what can't this guy do? He's got 4 attacks. You can just mash A and get the fire one, which is a homing meteor, which does fire. So it hits for double damage on grass, will kill Tomahawk. His second one is he hits 1 column ahead with ice, and it actually immediately freezes them. The third one is basically just Thunderman's entire chip. He sends lightning down 3 columns away and also breaks panels. And the last one sends a wood tower down his row, and it also has a grass stage effect, and it is like one of the best and most common ways of dealing with like an opponent's sanctuary. So like, and the other Element Man ice, it will even fix holes and make them into ice panels. So if you're like a no shoes Gregar and your opponent's trying to get on Gundel Soul you or something, the Element Man freeze can even help you escape from that. Like, so this guy decrosses 5 crosses. Like, he can break life auras on grass with the fire attack. Like, he clears Sanct. Like, it's null, so you can also beast charge it. And that's just for Element Man asterisk. Like, Element Man SP, for some reason, scales all the way up to 240 damage. So this man can single-handedly clear Holy Aura. Uh-oh. My mouse cursor's doing the thing again where it disappeared. Oh, I thought this wouldn't happen this time. Okay, 1 sec. But yeah, Element Man SP is insane. Okay, let me see if I can fix this. Okay, yeah, it's fixed. I have my cursor back. And yeah, so I am putting Element Man SP at the very top of S tier. Like, this thing, honestly, it is almost like Giga Chip level. Like, he is ridiculous. And EX, I'm not quite putting in S tier, but I'm still putting him at like the top of A tier. Like, you can just splash it. Like, the fact that Element Man already has so much utility, and then Element Man SP, like, scales up to 240 is insane. Like, it is just a ridiculously good chip. And yeah. After all that, now we move on to Colonel. You know what, I guess Erase Man EX can go at the top of B tier. I don't know. I noticed that, like, it shows you how well balanced BN6 is, though, that we have so many A tier navies, and that there aren't even that many in B and C. But yeah, Colonel cuts the enemy's area in a Z shape. It seems like it should hit a lot, because it hits 7 out of the 9 panels, but it misses a lot more than you'd expect, but he's still Sword. He doesn't care about holes, unlike Proto Man and Slash Man. And so yeah, he's not bad for being able to deal with Tengu. So I guess Colonel SP can go at the top of C tier. Like, it's not bad. It does also do 300 damage. So if the opponent's in base man, that's enough to cause anger, so that's a little scary. And that is actually it for the regular BN6 US Megas. And so, yeah, now we are onto some of the EXE6 chips. So I guess it's probably time I mention Double Beast. And yeah, it's S tier. No surprises there. Probably the surprise is that it's not at the top of S tier. So Double Beast, unlike all these other chips, it just does a set amount of damage. It can't be boosted by anything. It can do no more than that 420 damage. So you might think, why is it so good then if it can't like even be boosted by full synchro? Cause it hits from anywhere on the field. It doesn't care about holes. It's a like super multi-hit, so it will like eat right through even a barrier 200 and keep going. The drill attack on it is pseudo breaking. And yeah, that's the thing about Double Beast, is most of all of these other chips have some sort of limitations on them, on their range. Like, I mean, obviously Element Man Fire is one thing, but like Erase Man, he only hits the row you're in, and then obviously like that line, like the diagonals above and below you. Like, Tengu Man has his spots where he won't reach. Like, Proto Man gets stopped by holes. Like, all these other Navis, like I forgot to mention with Ground Man earlier. The thing about Ground Man is when you use him, you need to make sure the opponent's not in your row. Like, because for a Ground Man to work, he needs to reach the back of the opponent's area. And Double Beast doesn't have anything like that. No matter where they are on the field, no matter if there's holes or anything, it will do that 420 damage. So yeah, pretty clear S for Double Beast, but I'm actually not putting it at the top of S, because Element Man SP and Erase Man are just that good also. And so now we have the Count's chips. The Count of Blood-Soaking Rain, or whatever his full name is. And he's pretty good. He's pretty interesting. So he's a multi-hit. He's like a much better multi-hit than Circus Man. And so the problem with him is he only targets the opponent's original 9 panels. Like, if the opponent gets +1 area on you and camps those panels, then they're safe. And so he also spawns a last hit if the opponent's on null panels. But yeah, it's just a very solid, high damaging multi-hit that you can boost. Maybe putting him at the bottom of B is a little high. Maybe he should be in like the top of C, but like H code is a lot of fun in EXE because of this guy. And I'm putting Django 1 and 2 in D code for Django. And they do have the crossover PA. Django 3, I'm actually going to put at the top of B tier. I guess probably Tengu should be like up here. But yeah, Django 3 is pretty nice because it is extremely high damage with the command code. And it's also pseudo breaking. And so you could freeze them with Dive Man. And yeah, let's see. Django 3. It is 260 pseudo breaking damage. So you freeze them with Dive Man. That is 520 damage before even counting the command code. Unfortunately, the sword, the command code sword on Django doesn't I can't put him at the top of B. He like loses to holes and stuff, but if the sword command code actually counted as sword in D-Cross Tengu, I'd be able to put him higher. But, yeah, I think the bottom of B seems fine, because he can do a lot of damage, it's a lot of fun to use, but it requires, like, to get the full value, you need to freeze them. Like, usually, I guess it would be with his, D-Bro Dive Man. And yeah, it's fine. Like, the reason why we hate EXE6 is because this thing's OP, and the other reason why I hate Double Beast is it has like a super long animation, which in my opinion isn't even a very cool animation, so it just takes forever. Like, we hate EXE6 because this is OP, this is OP, this is OP, and this is OP. Like, Count and Django are actually both fine. Speaking of which, these things aren't megas, but I only added them here because they weren't on the standard chip list. And yeah, Gundel X is really dumb. It goes in A tier. It's the same amount of damage as Gundel Soul 3, but it hits twice as... It hits an extra column, which is huge. Like, all you need to confirm Gundel EX is +1 area. And, like, like, G-code is so dumb in EXE. A lot of that is because of this chip. Tenko, I gotta put in D. Like, Otenko is fun to use. Like, Otenko would also be fine in BN6. Like, you put him down, he's a object, and he'll slowly boost, like, your next chips up to, a maximum of +50. But, like, you'd usually need to get him set up at the back row. It's an O code, which, like, doesn't have anything to use it with, so you need to, like, put down Otenko, and then, like, bring, like, the Q-Force or whatever you want to actually boost with it on the next turn. Like, it's much worse than just using, like, double pointer attack +30. Yeah, O-Code's not bad, but it doesn't have anything that really goes with Otenko. And yeah, but now we're finally onto the Giga chips. And so, I made a separate S tier for Gigas, because, like, there's not really much point in comparing Gigas with, like, Element Man, SP, and Double Beast. So, yeah, Gigas just have a separate S tier. And so the first one we have is Psybeast Falzar. Some people might be surprised this is going into S, because yes, Gregar is a lot stronger. But, And also, I guess, like, it doesn't really matter where in A tier this thing goes. I'm saying this is like a A+, maybe even borderline S tier standard chip. But, yeah, I'm not saying he's better or worse than any of the A tier Navis. Same with, Otenko in D tier. Like, it's like a C or D tier standard chip. Anyways, yeah, back to Falzar. So it is, quite a bit worse than the Gregar Giga, because it gets, if you don't use it with a Humor Bug proc, it gets walled by Life Aura. It has a worse range to get the full damage, but it can still easily do, like, unboosted. Like, if you do get it lined up, like, it can do, like, 4 or 5 feathers, and then the 3 hits with the gusts. Like, this thing could still easily do like 700 or more damage. It's not stopped by holes or anything. One advantage it does have over the Gregar Giga is that when you do use it with a ×2 proc, because like Gregar starts with the 300 damage breath, so if you use a ×2 Gregar and they have a life aura up, it wastes the first 600 damage. Then obviously you could still get like 1,000 from the rocks after, because it's a stupid ass Giga and way too strong. But what with falls are the advantages that, like, if you use it with ×2, like, you just the first 200 damage feather will break their life aura. So you don't actually, and then you like still get more damage later on if you have them in range. So yeah, the Falzar Giga still goes in S tier, but at the bottom of S tier. And next we have Base Anomaly. And I think as far as Gigas go, it is a solid B. He uses Hell's Rolling. It's like 4 hits of 160 damage, ideally, which is a lot. The problem is it's completely allergic to holes, which for your Giga Chip is not good. And yeah, how does Base keep ending up in B? I don't know. B for Base. I mean, I guess you could put him in F for Fish. Not F for Forte. F for Fish. But yeah, Base Anomaly is pretty solid. It's a lot of damage. But unfortunately, holes are a big issue for it. Whenever I use this thing, it feels like I always get those perma-hole fields, and it's just like, well, don't I Soul would probably agree with Fish Anomaly in B. Next up, we have a normal base, and maybe this is too high for him, but I'm gonna put base in A. And yeah, it's less damage than Base Anomaly, but it can be boosted. The other thing is it won't hit the opponent if they're on a hole. But like, if you tried middle of A, well, I mean, I'm just putting it in A because it's a Giga. Anyways, yeah, like Base Anomaly, if it loses to Meteor Knuckle TFC, it loses to Get On TFC, it loses to, like, you get TFC anything to make holes. Like, Element Man could block this thing. Element Man Elect TFC could block Base Anomaly. Like, Base fails if they're standing on a hole, but, like, you can't TFC anything that instantly puts you over a hole when you're on a, like, fixed panel. It also can get huge boosts with double pointer attack plus 30. And yeah, at least in regular BN6, I'd say it's definitely the second best Gregar Giga. And it does have advantages over Q-Force, like not needing to rely on using it with Beast out. So having base instead of Q-Force lets you, like, Beast out, like, and just, like, go for Beast charges. And then you can just use base whenever you want. So yeah, pretty solid A tier Giga. Next up we have a, Meteor Knuckle. And yeah, Meteor Knuckle is very strong. It's breaking, so it will just kill Slash. Like, if you're Slash and you get hit by this thing, goodbye. Yes, it has a lot of RNG, which can be very annoying. But there's also ways to just confirm the 8 hits. It obviously also breaks panels, so it will deal with Sanctuary. It has a Neo variable encode. And yeah, even in a... How does Meteor Knuckle target? So the way it works is it will target the opponent's panel, and any panels that are adjacent to them, and it will never hit the same panel twice in a row. And yeah, the max hits you can get with it is 8. Also, if you use Meteor Knuckle with a Humor proc, like the Falzar Giga, it then becomes strong enough to break Life Aura. And since it also breaks panels, that means it will even beat Holy Aura after. It just nukes Slash Cross. If you're lucky, it can you can get a few extra hits in, even if the opponent's in the middle. I hate this chip. S tier. And moving on to Big Hook. I mean, it's still a Giga chip. Unlike most of the other Gregor Gigas, Big Hook does not care about holes. You can do some funny setups for it in H code. Like, it's still a Giga. I am not putting any Gigas in D tier, spoilers. But like, Big Hook will break Life Aura. I'd like Big Hook a lot more if it had the targeting of Flame Hook, because the big issue with Big Hook is it will only... It's the same as base, and also the count chips. It will only target the opponent's, like, initial 9 panels. So if a Slash Cross is at +1 area, killing you, Big Hook won't even save you at that point. Like, if Big Hook targeted the way the Flame Hook PA does, where it, like, just targets in front of you, then honestly it might be B tier. And yeah, next up we have Cross Divide. And this is a interesting one. I'm really not sure what to do with it, but I think the last time I used Cross Divide was in Link Navies. And it's actually in Link Navies, like, Hub and BDT are banned. So obviously, like, Meteor Knuckle's, like, OP in Link Navies, but Cross Divide's pretty good there too, and Standard. Cross Divide is Sword, but, like, there's so many other swords that you can use to nuke Tengu that don't use up your Giga chip. Cross Divide, at least, like, you need a... Colonel doesn't have air shoes, so you can't use it when you're on a hole, but unlike a base anomaly, it's not stopped by holes. And yeah, it's definitely better than Big Hook. Like, it's not that bad. Like, if you're running Decode, like, definitely go for it. Like, Cross Divide can also break a Holy Aura. But yeah, it can also just miss. If you use it when you're, if you use it when the opponent's not in your row, it will, make the cross 2 panels away. Like, yeah, or I guess it will go for it 3 columns away. And my mouse cursor did that thing where it disappeared again. Let me just, oh, what is going on? I have no idea what is happening. Okay, there we go, fixed. Yeah, Cross Divide's a weird one. It's like, it's not terrible by any means, but it's, there's better gigas that you could use. I guess, like, I don't know, it feels weird having it right next to Base Anomaly. But yeah, and next one's another weird one, Delta Ray. I think I'm also gonna put Delta Ray in B tier. The problem with Delta Ray can do up to 3 hits of 260 sword damage. Like, it's massive. And the problem is that the positioning required for the opponent to be is so specific. And even if you only get 2 hits of Delta Ray, that's still pretty good. That's still 20 more than Cross Divide. But it fails if the opponent's in the top row. Like, Proto Man, Chod is still an idiot. He never installed air shoes on Proto Man. That would have been nice. And yeah, there are like things you could do. You could go for like a mag coil setup to pull them into the center. You could use like mag coil and lance or mag coil and coming road to try and guarantee it. But even then, it's still just, I mean, it's 260 damage, so if you get them in the right positioning, Life Aura won't actually help them that much. The first hit will break Life Aura, and then you'll still get the next two, so that's actually pretty nice. But it's like, you could get the perfect positioning, and then it still just loses to TFC Invis or TFC Anti-Damage. Then we do have a few more S-tier Gigas coming up. The next one being Hub Batch. And yeah, Hub Batch, I guess, the GM added it to 4.5, which is pretty cool. Only it's actually a bit better in BN6, because, it's J-code, so you have it with Recov 300. And, also this guy. And yeah. So, Hub Batch gives you Attack 5, Speed 5, Charge 5, Float Shoes, Air Shoes, Custom 8, and Shield. It does not give Super Armor. And so, Hub is very... Hub BDT was a thing. Like, the Air Shoes is very useful, because it means you can use, like, Get On without having to go Tengu or Beast out. Like, getting shields nice. You used to have double shield strategies. And lately I've been trying to use Hub. You can get there's custs that will give you Buster Bug level 3 from just a speed max. Like, you could get a lot of value from Hub. Like, if you go for like Dust Dig and have low cust, and then you get the cust 8. Also, if you have a custom bug and you haven't drawn bug fix yet, Hub will buy you a lot more turns to get bug fix before being screwed and stuck at cust 2. And yeah, it's just a very strong Giga. Obviously, the disadvantage with Hub is all these other Gigas we looked at can do a lot of damage. Hub is just all about the utility, but you are giving up on like having a Giga that can do 1,000 damage or whatever. So that is the trade-off with it. obviously hub is also like very strong in like when uninstall is in play, because it can give you back stuff that's been uninstalled. So you have like you almost sometimes have a game of chicken where like you hold hub until they uninstall you, and they try to hold uninstall until you use hub. So there's also like there's that aspect to it. So yeah, definitely a very strong Giga though. Because the thing about hub is you're pretty much always getting something out of it. And yeah, moving on finally, Q-Force. Which, yeah, I mean, it's Q-Force. It, spawns, a kernel soldier in each of your unbroken panels, and I think it has to be unoccupied too, like by objects. And yeah, they fire 3 shots. It's null, non-dimming, means it gets boosted by a beast out. You can use it with Gundel Soul 3 to deal with their invis and also do extra almost 500 damage. You can use it with Wind Rack to remove their life aura. You could even try to use it with Panel Return if they try to get on or magnum it. So yeah, Q-Force has it has a lot of counterplay to the ways to deal with it. It obviously doesn't like Tomahawk Cross. I mean, Q-Force Windrack Gundel Soul basically is a program advance. It's the real best program advance in 6. It's not the best program advance isn't Destroy Pulse, it's Gundel Force. But I mean, yeah, top of S for Q-Force, because you could like get over 1,000 damage or more with this thing so easily. Obviously, there are ways around it, like it loses to Invis, and even with Gundel Force, there's like a chance that they might dodge the Gundel Soul. It loses to holes. It doesn't like dealing with status guard. But yeah. And next, BDT. And this might be a bit of a hot take, but I'm putting BDT right at the top of A. I don't think it's quite a S tier anymore, but it's definitely not bad. If anyone tries to tell you that like BDT sucks now on Tango, that's just cap. It's still a fine Giga. It just requires more work to, like, it takes more effort to make it work than it used to, but still, like, BDT has such strong synergies with, like, Bubble Star and stuff. I really should start playing BDT more again, so for anyone that doesn't know, it makes your charge shot Dark Thunder. I think it takes like 200 frames to charge, or maybe it's only 180, I forget. It's a slow charge time, but it also stays on the field for a really long time, so even with the slow charge, you can get 2 out at once. And yeah, the problem with BDT is it takes like a lot of setup to get it going, but once you do have BDT going, it is extremely strong. And next up we have BRS, which I'm also going to put in C tier with Big Hook. BRS would be a lot better if it was on Falzar. It just doesn't really work that well with Gregor's kit. It's like BDT, except it makes your charge shot Dark Sword. So it also does 200 damage. The advantage it has over BDT is it only takes 120 frames to charge, or 2 seconds, so it's a much faster charge time. But it's just Dark Sword. It doesn't stun them like BDT does. Instead of beating Bubble Wrap like BDT does, it kind of gets not completely walled by Bubble Wrap, but it's horrible dealing with Bubble Wrap with BRS. It's a lot of fun in like reverse Gigas and All Stars when you can do like Dust Dig BRS, but like you're using your Giga chip. Like, it does 40 more damage than just going Slash Cross. So it's only a slightly higher DPS than Slash. It is a lot of fun to use it with Chargeman and Link Navis too. Like, BRS is basically fun in, like, all the weird formats we do. It's basically good in everything except Standard. But in Standard, yeah, it's got a lot of issues. Then finally, we're down to our last chip, the Gregar Giga. And yeah, it's like the Falzar Giga, but not much better, but quite a bit better. It starts with the 300 damage Gregar Breath, and then into the Falling Rocks. It cracks panels. The first Gregar hit breaks Life Aura. Like, this thing can, like, no unboosted, do 800 damage. It's ridiculous. Like, yeah, this thing is just nuts. I guess maybe I should put it above Q-Force. It's definitely a lot better than Q-Force in mod cards because you can of the ease you can have Emotion Bug to use it with, and also because of all the status guard and holes. In seniors, I actually still kind of prefer Q-Force because Gregar isn't it's still very strong, but like this thing in mod cards with Emotion Bug, it's like it's just a win condition on its own, basically. Like, even with chip heal and stuff, if you get hit by a ×2 Gregar, it is, like, extremely hard to come back. Like, this thing is, yeah, the Psybeast Gigas are also the only X-code chips in 6, and they deserve that. Code ranking next? I'm not sure what ranking I'll do next. Code ranking would be kinda interesting. And yeah, this still ended up going for, how long have I been going for? Okay, like an hour and 18 minutes, so yeah, still Shanghai EXE chips. I haven't played Shanghai in years, I should get back into it, but probably, I think, like, some of the chips have probably been, like, buffed or nerfed since I last played. Code rankings, yeah, the way I think I'd do code rankings would be I'd rank codes if they're, like, great for both versions, like B. If they're great on only one version, or if they're, like, good, decent on both. I don't know how I'd do codes. Cause stuff like Q code is weird, cause Q is, like, extremely good on Gregar, but on Falzar, Q is even worse than I. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, it would be weird making a tier list, like, because if I were to do a Shanghai tier list, like, what's the point of doing a tier list for chips, like, when it's just for the single player? Anyways, yeah, I guess this is my Mega and Giga tier list. I guess that's it for this one. I still need to do more 4.5 matches. I also need to get back into doing Gregor runs, because it's been a few weeks since I've done any of those. Yeah, Spark's a pretty fun game. And yeah, I guess, like, maybe where I put Count and Django at the bottom of B is wrong. I don't know. Overall, I think this is a pretty solid list. Like, you could argue about, like, the order stuff should be in D tier, I don't know. But, like, yeah, maybe you should say Colonel should be in B. I just kind of wanted him to be C for Colonel. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Element Manus P at the top S. Like, yeah, this was a lot of fun to do. And I think the Leafs are playing now, so I can go watch them lose. Probably I already missed a bunch of the game. Alright, but yeah, thanks to everyone who tuned in. I'll get this up onto YouTube at some point as well. And yeah.